You don't find these products in a lot of other seaweed products that are on the shelf because it's a little bit more expensive. It's harder for companies to source out, but they're extremely valuable sources of hormones and micronutrients. Let's move on to the Magical. Magical is our magnesium calcium supplement. What it contains is magnesium, calcium, and there's also iron in there. And this product is along the same thread as our BC Boost. You know, and we discussed the reasoning and why we have to separate our calcium and our iron and our boost. It's the same reason why they're offered as additives on the market as well in a separate bottle. One, because they don't get along with other fertilizers when they're in the bottles. And two, because plants can use a lot of calcium and magnesium, especially in a high-performance garden. Calcium, just like for humans, building strong bones and strong teeth, for plants it builds strong cell walls. So you got sturdier stems and sturdier leaves, you know, that can withstand heat and drought. And your sturdier stems aren't going to bend over when your plants are heavy towards the end of flower. So it just builds for strong cell walls, right? With the magnesium, magnesium is a key nutrient that's key for photosynthesis. So as plants are photosynthesizing, you know, magnesium is a key nutrient that directly affects that process. So if you have a lack of magnesium in there, you're going to have lower photosynthesizing rates, right? And then you're going to have you know, deficiencies crop up, yellowing in your leaves and all that. And let's move on to the sugar daddy, which is carbohydrate and amino acids are the main ingredients in the sugar daddy, right? Carbohydrates for plants are energy. You know, when plants photosynthesize, they make sugars, and they store those sugars in the leaves, and they use the sugars for energy to do different functions within the plants. The problem is when we bring plants indoors, plants rarely, if ever, photosynthesize at 100% capacity. You know, we've seen a lot of dialed-in grow rooms, but none of them are dialed in to ideal conditions when you compare to outdoors. You know, to have perfect light and perfect CO2 and perfect temperature and all those variables perfect is very, very, very difficult. So it's rare that you have a customer that has an ideal garden indoors. What the sugars do is they help top off that energy reserve in the plant as if they were photosynthesizing at 100% capacity. Right? So when plants are photosynthesized, taking in the sun and the CO2 and the water, they make these sugars, they store it up, and they use it for the energy to grow, right? So if you bring them inside and they don't have full light, they don't have full CO2, they don't have the full amount of energy that they need. So we can trick the plant. We can provide those sugars to the plant. They can take them in through the roots, through their leaves, and store them in the cells just like they would the sugars that they made naturally, and use them as their energy source. So it's topping off their fuel reserve. The amino acids, what amino acids are is they're building blocks of protein. All right, protein is the building block of life. Okay, so our cells, you know, bug cells, tree cells, all plant cells contain protein. Right, you have to have protein to build new cells. And to have protein, you have to have amino acids. So what we would like to do is offer you know, liquid steak, a protein supplement that we could give right to the plants. But plants can't take in protein. It's way too complex of a molecule for them to take in and use. So the next best thing is to give them the amino acids that they need to make the protein. All right, so we're just kind of eliminating a step in that process to help make the plant grow more efficiently. And as the plant's building new cells, it's growing, it's photosynthesizing, it's doing its thing, it's building new leaves and stems, it needs those proteins. So it's going to, the natural process that plants take is they're going to first make the amino acids, right? And to do that, they have to take available energy. They actually use nitrogen during that process to make amino acids. So they take a lot of available energy and available resources to make amino acids, and then have to turn right around and take those amino acids and turn them into protein. So it's a multi-step process to get to where they need to go. So like I said, we supplement those amino acids to cut out one step, to save some of that energy, to save some of that nitrogen to use for other uses in the plant. So it just makes that whole process of growing and making your cells more efficient, right? So that's really the backbone of any carbohydrate and amino acid product. I know a lot of marketing that's out there right now markets these types of products as flavor enhancement products. And while they will do that, it's a secondary benefit because if you have a plant that's working more efficiently, growing more efficiently, it's going to show its genetic potential more truly. Awesome Blossoms. Awesome Blossoms is our flower booster. It's a PK boost. That's what a lot of people refer to them as. PK, phosphorus, and potassium. So you use this product when you're in the flowering phase to enhance the phosphorus and potassium levels while you're in the bloom phase. One thing that's different about the Awesome Blossoms, one additional product that we've got in the Awesome Blossoms that sets it apart is it also contains humic and fulvic acids. So it acts as a chelating agent. Does everybody know what a chelating agent is? Right. Anytime you're going to be using Awesome Blossoms, you're going to be using it in addition to your standard fertilizer program. It's not a standalone fertilizer, right? So you're going to be adding it on top of other nutrients. As you're mixing up your reservoir and you're adding more and more mineral salts to that reservoir, the stronger the concentration of that food, the more likely those nutrients are going to try to precipitate, try to fall out of solution, try to become a salt again and not dissolved in water. So as you raise the concentration of nutrients, the more likely that's going to happen. So we wanted to include the humic and fulvic acids in there to, one, help prevent that from happening, and two, help the plants take in that nutrient much more efficiently. So those are the key ingredients in Awesome Blossoms. Is obviously the phosphorus and potassium, which are extremely soluble, again, crystal clear. It's not going to be in a salt form in your bottle. It's going to be fully dissolved. It also contains the humic acids, which help keep it dissolved and help the plants take it in much more efficiently. So let's say you start with your reservoir and you mix your nutrients up and it's a 6-0, just for reference. If you notice it drifting up over time, the general rule of thumb is that you're underfeeding. If you see it drifting down over time, it's an indication that you're overfeeding. And you can tell that definitively when you're using the BC nutrients because there's no buffers in there that are possibly skewing that number. When you add in those buffers when using other mineral salt nutrients, those buffers will skew that number a little bit. So you don't know if your pH is raising or lowering because your buffers aren't working anymore or because you're over or underfeeding. With our line, because there's no buffers, if you're dosing properly, your pH is going to stay stable for the entire life of the reservoir change. If it's not stable, if it's drifting in one direction or another, that's an indication as to, it tells you that you're not dosing properly, you're over or underfeeding.